Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Belegian.
Glad you could join us wherever you may be on this Wednesday night or whenever you are watching. I'm Sean Belegian. He's Mike Ibiso. Want to give a shout out again to the Michigan High School Hockey Coaches Association for making this possible. It's helping pass the time until next season for a lot of us, to be sure. But one of the things that we're doing each and every show is talking about the proven path. And the proven path, what we mean by that is these are guys that made the decision to play high school hockey, had a lot of success in their high school hockey career, and have been able to move on. And Mike, we have a very special edition tonight. We brought half of Trenton on when we had the Trojans edition of the Proven Path. Tonight, I think Coach Gadwa, the head man at Hartland, decided to bring about 4/5 of Hartland with him tonight. And it's a testament to what a great community he is and certainly the job that Coach Gadwa has done. Let's start with Coach Gadwa. Rick, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend. Thanks so much for your time here tonight. How are you, bud?
I'm excellent. Really, really happy to be here. I think this is great what you guys are doing.
Hey, Rick, I always use you as an example, and I'm not trying to make you blush, but I use the term the usual suspects. And the reason that I use that is not that long ago, you were the team that a lot of people were looking at and saying, hey, isn't this a great story out at Hartland? Wow, look at this run and everything. And then all of a sudden you did it again, and you did it again, and you won a championship, and you won a championship. And I think that you are a prime example of something that we talk about is it. Listen, we're going to build something and we want to be around for a while. Talk about your time at Hartland. I know you're a former player, but certainly Hartland is near and dear to your heart. And this is a labor of love for you.
It really is. When I was in high school, ironically enough, for some reason, I finished up playing high school at Hartland and I fell in love with the high school game, being around your buddies at school, going to the rink, in the locker room and all that after school every day. And just, it really was just an unbelievable experience. And I remember at that age, even like I'm competitive, and we weren't the most competitive program in the state. And even as a kid, it was a dream to one day come back, build up the program and try to make us a state power. And it's awesome that we've been able to do that. It really isn't, I'm being honest, it isn't just me. It is an army of coaches, and administration that have been a part of building this thing. And really the most important part is, the guy that you're about to talk to and the rest of them that you're about to talk to, the players get it done. And we've been so fortunate to have great players come through Hartland. And I think it's going to be really neat to hear from them tonight.
Absolutely, Coach. And you've built the program like we talk about these programs that bring these kids in. So let's jump into one of these players. Braden, let's talk a little bit about this proven pathway, is what this show is all about, what you can do playing high school hockey. Could you tell us where you started in youth hockey, and then when you made that decision, why Hartland High School, and then where you've gone since then?
All right. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. So I started off, just played at Livingston and KV all the way up. I always played just AA hockey up until freshman year. Tried out for Hartland, made the team. And then just from there, I just got better and better. I think every year it helped me a ton from where I was at going in, even in 8th grade. I just didn't think I could get to where I am now.
Braden, there are some communities where it's a badge of honor to go and play for your high school. And certainly we're trying to get that all over the state. But it seems to me that Hartland is really one of those special places. The kids that are growing up there say, hey, eventually I want to play for Hartland. I want to play for Coach Gadwa. Did you find that to be your experience?
Oh, 100%. I remember, I was 8th grade going down to Plymouth, and I watched the championship game, and I was actually with Jack, and I was like, I want to play here for sure. And it's just, yeah, it looked awesome and everything I thought it would be.
Well, it's great to hear that Brady, you came out of that great KV association. Rick, Coach Gadwa, how big is that association to you? We know we pull these AAA players in here, and everyone wants to talk about that, but I've been here for 20 years watching this association grow. You get the kids like the Drew parents coming up now and Ian Castanamo. What does that KV program mean to you?
Everything. I mean, it's been our lifeline. And you look at Braden specifically came up through Livingston, which is basically, right outside of KV, and then played for KV for years. Tier 2 organization, career Tier 2 player, youth wise growing up. And as a guy that's playing in the North American Hockey League and something's going to happen for him soon collegiately. We just talked about it the other day, Braden, but you'll see this guy's name signing with someone here soon. Within the next year is my guess. But to just see, an association like that be able to pump out, these are kids that, like Braden, you didn't play AAA hockey. A lot of kids think you have to go do that to make it. And he's proof in the pudding that you just don't. And there's so many different paths, and all of them are great. But we obviously love our path, and Braden's a product of that.
Coach Gadwin and Braden Pietla kindly joining us, and we're having fun. I've heard Pietla pronounced 500 ways. There's no doubt about that. But Braden, the one thing that I know for a fact is somehow, some way, a lot of those Finns, you guys are all related, and you have a cousin in Houghton or a cousin in Calumet. Really talk about how the game is so big in that community. It is amazing to me, how many of those guys have come up in that community and have become successful hockey players.
Yeah, it's awesome. We got cousins all over the place, obviously big families. So we got down here up in Houghton, bunch of cousins up there that play too. Even Minnesota, I know they started making the trip out to Delano. So that's great. And yeah, just having all those guys, everyone gets better together. So it works out great.
Great story. I followed, obviously I was coaching at Grosse Pointe North, and I went to a Grosse Pointe North Howell game. And after that game, there was a drop-in session, and it was full. Both benches packed. They all had Pietla on the back of the jerseys. It was unbelievable. There had to have been 40 of them out there. It was great. So, Braden, could you tell us a little bit, give a little bit of advice for those seniors that are going to be making the move that you made from Hartland to the NA? We've got a lot of kids that are going to be moving to juniors coming up here in August. What's your biggest piece of advice for them moving into camp?
I would say, or just personally for me, going from high school to juniors, you just got to be hard on pucks and just simplify your game, make the simple plays, and it'll all come to you. So that's what I would say and even with the speed, if you just got to simplify your game and you just see the ice good and it works out.
One more thing before we let you go. I always like to ask the guys this, a 14-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid on the fence. What would you tell them about your high school hockey experience?
I would say it's awesome. It's unbelievable. Just go to a game and see for yourself, just a Hartland Brighton game, and just go watch it. It'll convince you in every way to go play there. There's really nothing you can say. Just tell them go to a game and watch. It's unbelievable.
Great stuff. We'll be keeping an eye on you, no doubt about it, in the NA. I know there's some great things coming for you as well. Really appreciate you taking the time and joining us here, Braden. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, B.
From one Pietla to the next Pietla. I told you there are a whole bunch of them. Why don't we welcome in Adam Pietla now, playing D1 at Wisconsin. And first of all, Adam, we'll say the same thing to you. Thanks so much for joining us, and tell us about your experience in what is really, for anybody who's ever been out there, just a great hockey community in Hartland.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I got nothing but good things to say about Hartland. Going in there as a sophomore, playing with my older brother. All the guys were always good. We always had super close groups every year, and yeah, we had a lot of fun, sleepovers at the rink, all sorts of things. So yeah, we had a good time, and I'd recommend it for sure.
Right. One of the things we're trying to do with this show is promote that this is the proven path. So you were on the path playing some AAA hockey, I believe, if I looked at your background here. What went into that decision when you decided to leave AAA and go to Hartland and play high school hockey?
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of things that went into it. I guess, yeah, U15, U16 hockey starting, and yeah, my older brother was going into his senior year, and he didn't know where he wanted to play yet, so we both decided to go to Hartland, and yeah, we just we had the best of times. That's yeah, the jump from I went from AAA, even the jump to high school, playing with the older guys. It was a little tougher for sure. It for sure made me better and to grow into it, and yeah, eventually become one of the better players. It was super fun.
Adam, I have to ask you, when your high school career is over, no two paths are the same. Talk about what came next for you. I think, like so many 18-year-olds, you were like, yeah, I think I can keep going. How did your path lead you to where you are today?
Yeah, I guess I would never really say I always knew that I was going to play somewhere. It was just a matter of where. I always kind of had in the back of my head I wanted to play, but yeah, Ricky actually told me he would sell me his car, or he would give me his car if I didn't play in the North American League. That's what he told me. I was like, I don't know, coach. I don't know if I can make this team. He's like, I'll give you my car.
It was only like a 99 Ford Taurus at that point.
Yeah, so
All right.
I like confidence, man, and Adam was one that had it for sure. But sometimes, there's a little doubt. You wanted to make sure he had all the confidence.
Great. Adam, we have a lot of kids here, the future kids that are going to be playing high school hockey. They're going to be making that jump to juniors. What's a big piece of advice you could give them on how they could be successful making that jump from high school to juniors?
I would say probably just a mentality piece. Yeah, you can't take a night off, or else you'll be sitting in the stands or you won't be playing. So it's kind of an every night thing, and yeah, you just got to be ready to play every day and give it your best, and the rest is out of your control, I guess.
Adam, after that, in juniors, I'm sure people start knocking on your door. Tell us how you ended up at Wisconsin.
Yeah, I guess I was committed to Northern Michigan before, not more than 3 weeks ago. But yeah, I guess when things kind of blew up there and the coaches left and all that happened, I guess I entered the portal, and yeah, I guess by some stroke of luck, I ended up here. So
there are worse places to be than Madison, Wisconsin.
Right.
People out there, seriously, If you haven't been to Madison, Wisconsin yet, I highly recommend it. Go check out a football game.
It's beautiful.
See this guy play hockey there.
Absolutely. Now, Adam, as we've done a bunch of these shows, there's a lot of themes that keep coming up. And the one thing is kids playing high school hockey, they have these stories of what happens on the ice that they got to come back and tell their boys, or every time when they get together, they're going to tell that story. What's your greatest memory or story from Hartland hockey?
Oh, geez. Put me on the spot like that. Yeah, definitely our Houghton trips. Going up there, I remember one of the seniors when I was a sophomore made a pretty good video that he put on YouTube. That's we always had a ton of fun on those road trips, and karaoke, and yeah, just the whole Houghton trip was a good time. Staying up late at the hotel and ding dong ditching each other. Yeah, it's just best time ever.
Oh, that's awesome. As Coach Hunter chimed in, singing karaoke on the bus. I may or may not have some videos that I can share with people. I wouldn't do that to you guys. I'm just saying I may or may not have it.
Oh, hey, yeah, I'm sure there's videos out there.
Adam, continued success to you, man. Seriously, we root for everybody that moves on. This is such a fantastic place, this Michigan high school hockey family, and that's why we're talking to guys like you. Continued success to you. Really appreciate you taking the time with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm going to embarrass Coach Gadwood before we bring the next guy in. No, seriously, this is a true story.
I'm okay with that.
No,
Used to it.
No, listen, Ricky. One of the things that I remember is we always hear guys talk about the big picture, right? We always hear guys talk about the big picture. A couple years ago, who can forget that unbelievable Hartland Brighton overtime game, right?
Right. Yep.
After the game, do you remember this? You were with me.
I was with you. Yep.
I walk down the hall. I see Coach Gadwa in the hallway, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to go talk to this guy. I love him, love the guy. Seriously, I don't want to talk to him after a loss like this. He turns around, he grins ear to ear, and he said, "Wasn't that great for the game?" And like, Ricky, honestly, I mean, you were already one of my guys. Once you said that, I was like, I love this guy, because you hear so many people talk about it. It's, yes, of course you want your program to do well. No doubt about it. That's why you're in it. But it's the bigger picture. It's about rowing in the same direction, Coach.
No, I appreciate that. That game was awesome. Like, it sucked to lose, obviously. We still think about it, but what a great game for high school hockey.
Yeah, and it's another one of those common themes. Every time we're talking to a coach, they're not just talking about Hartland, Trenton, Stevenson. They have all talked about high school hockey and these other programs. And I got to witness Coach Gadwa firsthand with Team Michigan this year, and he was out there pitching every one of those kids to scouts, not just his kids, not just every kid that was on there. That was his job, and he took it serious. And it's we need more guys like this in the game. No
doubt about that. All right, let's bring in the next guy. I'm very jealous of him. I told him this before we went on. I've made no secret about it. I love the Houghton Hancock area. I just think it's one of the most special areas in the state. And this is a guy that knows a little something about the Houghton Hancock area. Jed Pietla kindly joining us, played at Michigan Tech, and now with the Toledo Walleye in the ECHL. And Jed, like everybody else, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it here in the middle of summer. And I guess let's start with your start at Hartland. How did you end up as a member of the Hartland hockey team?
That's again, like Adam said, a little bit of Rick Gadwa's sales pitch. He can talk a guy into anything. So my older brother actually played there, and so I grew up watching games, and I'd come play in the summer ever since I was, 7th grade, 8th grade. I'd go play for the summer team, and then by my senior year, it was kind of just like I just made a good run. I played U16 AAA, and we made a good run to the national championship and ended up losing, but we won a state championship, and it was kind of like that was fun. But now I missed watching the high school games, and I said, well, let's see what it's all about. And Rick gave me the guarantee as well of, hey, you're gonna move on, you're gonna do well. If you're good enough, someone's gonna find you. And it happened to work out.
That's another one that we've had. If you're good, they're gonna find you. Now your next step after your pathway started with Hartland High School, the NA, you show up to that first training camp. What's the advice you would give to our seniors this year that are going to be moving into training camp? What can they expect? What's going to be waiting for them there?
If you think you're great, you got a little more coming. There's a lot of good hockey players. I seen that firsthand. I bounced around quite a bit. The start of juniors, I went through a couple teams. I mean, every coach has a different opinion, and they're entitled to that, obviously. So I kind of seen a few different opinions until I finally fell in Austin, and then it finally I actually ended up switching to D, and that's where everything kind of took off for me.
How was that transition for you? I mean, here you're moving on in your career, and then you're changing position. How was that transition? Talk us through the mindset behind that.
Well, I mean, at some point you got to do what you got to do to play. So that's kind of what it came down to. But I kind of always was, growing up playing AAA. I was kind of a defensive forward. So switching to D, you kind of take you're not worried as much about getting points, and I am kind of an offensive defenseman, so points kind of came as they should, or I mean, you make a simple play and you might get an assist. So it's points can come a little easier, maybe, in a sense of, obviously you don't have to get a point a game to get noticed or stuff like that. I mean, just like Braden said at the start of the show, just simplify your game, makes the simple pass, and then as you get your confidence, you can kind of start making plays and going from there.
So you brought up a little bit of adversity as you went into camp, but you got through it. And this is something that has come up with almost every one of these players, coach, that have gone from juniors, from high school to juniors. There's a little bit of adversity in their times. Jed, what did you do to get through that adversity when things just weren't going your way, pucks just weren't going in the net?
Oh, I've had a few of these moments. I mean, even just starting in juniors where things just kind of wouldn't go my way, and I guess not even wouldn't go my way. I just kind of wasn't there yet. It was kind of on me. I needed to grow myself, and that's kind of what happened going into my second year. I took a jump in the summer, bared down a little bit, and then went into my next year, and I had a lot more confidence. And so then again, going after my last year junior into my freshman year of college was COVID year, so it was a shortened year. We had an older decor, so I kind of was watching from the outside, which that's, again, just wasn't quite good enough. Needed to pick up my game. And then sophomore year, I was feeling pretty good. And then a week before our first game, I blew out my shoulder, so I had shoulder surgery. So sat out my whole sophomore year and then got cleared the following summer. And then junior year, I think a big thing is just confidence. Once you're not scared of who you're playing against or who you're kind of, if you're stacking yourself up against, okay, I'm better than this guy or I'm better than that guy, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is just who can you be the best version of yourself. You can't you start matching up next to other people, and that's where issues come. So you can get complacent pretty easily. So it's big just kind of bearing down and being the best version of myself, and then that kind of carried me into my junior and senior year.
Well, it helps your confidence when you have, a neck size of 3 men. Look at the dude's neck.
Hey, I have to interject. His neck wasn't always that big. The only thing he had a big gut in high school. His neck was skinny.
That gut's not going anywhere.
Hey, Jed, though, you mentioned, Mike, adversity. Like, and I don't know if we're realizing what he's saying. He got drafted, I think, was it Aberdeen in the NA? Jed,
yeah.
Who drafted you? He went to camp, and he had a rough go. He went through, was it 2 or 3 junior teams that year? You also a AAA team, right?
Yeah,
if I remember, in between your first junior, let's call it cut, you had
Aberdeen back to
Thunder.
I played a few weekends with TPH, Thunder, and then I went to Minot for about 2 weeks, and then went to Austin. So
4 teams in 1 year. The thing I know, what Jed wanted to be a hockey player. He never gave up, and he just never gave up. And he was so persistent, and he knew what he could achieve. So that happened in year 1 of junior. His last year junior, he's wearing the C in Austin. He's a leader of the program, the team. He's getting his deal with Michigan Tech. He's playing at his dream. That was his dream school. It's just such a great story for Jed. And Jed was a unique story. He was only a 1-year guy. We have guys like Braden was on first. He played 4 years for us. Jed was hard to convince. He says I could sell anything. Well, he was a really, really good hockey player. AAA teams wanted him to play. But I felt we get him here, like, you'll still move. You can move on this path. And Jed's another guy that's proven he just did a little different. But 4 teams, year 1, like, guys quit all the time.
Yeah, and, that's the story, Coach. That's what we got to get out there. We're getting out that pathway for kids that are before high school, and we want them to know you can take this path this way. But once they get on that path, some of them are point a game, 2 points a game in high school hockey. They're lighting it up. And then they go out there in juniors, and it's big boy hockey, and it's real, and they might only score a goal, or they're going to be in the stands, like Jed said, and be able to come back from that and then see the success of a Jed Pietla. These are the stories we've got to get out there so they also know that once they leave our high schools.
Couple guys showing Jed some love. Greg Givens said, Jed, the pride of Team Copper Country. Coach Hunter said, don't forget, this is a guy that broke his jaw his senior year.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've had a few injuries, to say the least.
So ECHL, tell us about the ECHL. I've been fortunate. I broadcast some games in that beautiful building down there in Toledo. Tell us a little bit about the ECHL.
I think the biggest thing to me is it was better than advertised. I didn't really know what to expect going in, but Toledo, I guess I'm speaking from Toledo's experience, but it was unbelievable. Toledo's rink is second to none. I mean, it's a pro atmosphere. That's all I can say. I mean, it's awesome.
Great stuff. Hey, seriously, Jed, continued success to you. As you've talked about, it's a proven path, and you just have to stick with it. And your tenacity is certainly well documented. We wish you nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, really appreciate it. We move on, and another guy who, boy, it wasn't. He was just playing for them like last year, right?
Absolutely.
All these names, like we were joking about it, Coach Gadwood. It's like, wait a second, you haven't been gone for 6 years. You were just there, but certainly doesn't seem like it's that long ago that we watched this guy ply his craft. Heck of a player. Let's welcome him in. Ben Pouliot kindly joining us, and he's a guy, Mike, in a league that you're going to know a little something about, the OJHL. Ben, first of all, really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for joining us here. And I'm going to start with the layup first. Get ready. Here comes the softball. Tell us about your time playing for Coach Gadwin Hartland.
Well, first off, thanks for having me, guys. But no, Rick, I think I had a relationship with him for a long time. He knew my dad really well as I was growing up. But once I got to high school, he tried to get me to be that 4-year player. I didn't do it the freshman year, but when I made that decision to come for my sophomore year, it was probably the best decision I ever made. Not only did I make some of the best friendships I'll have for the rest of my life, I got to play with those friends every day and make memories that'll last forever. It's something I still look back on, and I'm like, I wish I would have done it a little sooner, but those 3 years that I got, I'm really happy, and I couldn't have enjoyed it anymore.
And he just sold everybody on playing high school hockey.
There it is.
And the one thing, Ben, we do hear a lot is, I wish I did it sooner, or I wish I did it for those that never came, because this is a product that's coming. So that's all about your time at Hartland. Then now give some advice to these seniors that are doing what you just did, as you went to the Northern Ontario League first, I believe, that very first training camp that you went to, stepping on the ice, probably 17, 18 years old with some 20-year-olds, some Ben. What's some advice you can give to our seniors that are going there this year?
You have to go in there and don't expect to be the best. If you expect to be the best, you're going to hit reality real quick. And it happens to a lot of guys, but if something doesn't go your way, don't stop. There's a lot of bumps in the road. I came up with me this year, and all I'm going to say is you don't want to stop, because if you stop, you're going to regret it. And you want to make sure that whenever you're done playing this sport, hockey, whenever that is, in 20 years and another year as a senior, it might be your last year, just have no regret stepping on that ice.
Ricky, listen to these guys.
Wow.
The poise. I'm sitting here. They're putting us to shame.
Yes,
Like they should be interviewing us.
I'm stuttering all over the place. They're just smooth.
They all wore letters. All these guys wore letters, and you can see why. Ben, are you sitting in the locker room right now?
Yeah, I got off the ice to come do this.
See what I mean, though? Hey, where's he at? He's at the rink, guys.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
He's just always working on his craft.
Oh, that is great. Ben, we've talked about it all show. Obviously we want to talk about the proven path, but when we get guys like you, we want to talk about a special place. And certainly Hartland is a special place, and you guys have become one of the usual suspects. What is it about Hartland? I'm going to let you answer it in your own words. Describe what Hartland hockey means to you and means to the community.
Family is a very good word, because playing AAA, you don't get what you get coming to high school. You get to represent every person you grow up with, all the parents in the community, and then just being in that locker room every day, it creates a bond that lasts a lifetime. And just Heartland hockey, I think for every guy who's on this and every guy who played and came through this organization in high school can all say that they're a part of the Heartland family. And I think that's the best word that can sum it up. Just by the coaching staff, they really prepare you for what's next, or they prepare you as a person for what's next if you decide not to play hockey. But I can firmly say that I was a part of the Heartland hockey family, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
All right. When you get together with that Heartland hockey family, what's the one story you're always telling, you're talking about, whether it's a championship, it's serious, or it's funny? What is it?
Well, I think it always comes back to when we won the state championship in 2022. One thing some people don't know about that was Ian Castmo, he scored the winning goal, but I missed my shift. And he ended up going on the ice and scoring the winning goal, and it was probably the greatest thing that ever happened, and I missed that shift. That is one thing that I will remember for the rest of my life because I didn't go on the ice. It was just the funniest thing that ever happened.
Isn't that awesome?
That is it. I remember.
Now the cat's out of the bag.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as we got down there, the first thing Coach Gadwa said was he wasn't supposed to be on the ice.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Ben, continued success. Really, I am really, truly in awe of the maturity that you speak of. But Mike's got one personal question before we go.
No, I wasn't a personal question. I was going to say, hey, I'm excited. My son signed in the OJ, so I'm going to be out in Lindsay, Ontario quite a bit. And I believe he's in the same division of you. So I'm going to get to see another Hartland kid playing there. So it's going to be nice to see him out there. So when you're there, put a little extra effort in there so I can bring back and report on it.
Of course, I will.
All right. Thanks so much, Ben. Really appreciate the time.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. Look at somebody in the chat said, great show, guys. Love the Hartland Brighton hockey rivalry. You know, Mike, we should go do a game out in Hartland and Brighton this year. Doesn't that sound like a game that we could broadcast or something on the State Champs Network?
And just from what we've heard about this Hartland team, I think there's a couple games we could be doing. And that's a question we can ask Coach Gadwell. What are the games, the must-see games this year that are on your schedule?
Must-see games. Hey, local rivalry games are huge. Yeah. So, I mean, we've already said it 3 times, but if you're gonna watch, specific Hartland, you're gonna want to watch Hartland Brighton. You're gonna want to watch Hartland Hull, and just 2 great rival games. There's obviously a ton of history there. That's just can't miss hockey. Besides that, like, I don't want to disrespect any of the other opponents we have. Like, we'll have a ton of great games. It's depending on how, I know you guys traveled. You went to Traverse City last year.
Yeah.
It's always great, getting up. Did you get to the UP?
Yeah, we did it the year before. Yeah, we did.
Right.
That's
right.
Yeah, we're doing it this year too.
We have a great time. Like, I think it was Adam that mentioned it. Like that Houghton trip's part of, in my opinion, what's helped build our program and a lot of the family ties and things like that. But when we go up there, it's a different brand of hockey, especially when you're playing at the D and it's a little bit of a tighter barn in there. And even if there's 5 people in there, it's loud and cold and there's never 5 people. It's always usually pretty packed or if you're at the Coliseum in Calumet. So we go up annually for that trip. Long story short, that would always be a great one too.
We were freezing when we were there 2 years ago, Ricky. Mike and I went outside to warm up. I kid you not. That barn is so gosh darn cold. It was snowing outside. Mike and I got up, walked outside the D, outside, and to warm up. Hey, let's go outside to warm up. I mean, right?
Middle of the winter.
Yeah, right. That's the way it goes. All right, let's bring in the next couple of guys. 2 guys that are sitting in together. 2 guys that represent D3. We'll let them tell you about it, but please welcome to the show Ryan Piros and Seth Ferguson. And first of all, guys, thank you so much for the time. I know there are 158 things you could be doing on a Wednesday night in July. Really appreciate you taking the time. Ryan, let's start with you and then Seth, you can go next. I got to start with this. Talk about your community. I mean, Hartland's a great community. We've been out there for games. We've given out awards out there, etc. But what is it about that Hartland community that jumps out to you?
Yeah. So thanks for having us, first of all. And then, like, not growing up around Hartland, I didn't really get that whole high school experience. Kind of like seeing our community was a bit smaller, and then we ended up moving out here, and just like how many people would go to games and like support you, and you go to school on Fridays and they'd be like, "Oh, good luck," and just going into the rink and seeing all your buddies there in the stands, like I thought it was an awesome time. Like being able to play in front of all your friends, and then showing up Monday to school and talking about the game and who you got next Friday. And I thought it was a blast. Like it was nothing like AAA or any other travel team. Like it was the best time of my life, I thought.
Seth?
How you doing?
Excellent. Same question. Special community. What's it mean to you?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Obviously, for me, it's just like going to school wearing your suit. You know, you're the man on campus, and you get to see your teammates in class and at lunch, and all your peers at school, and they just look at you like the man. And it's a good feeling to have, and it's a good like support behind you at games. You know, you're seeing all your friends, like Ryan said. It's just there's nothing like it, especially at Hartland and playing for Coach Gadwa.
All right, a question for both of you. We'll start with Seth. From what my background check says here, you guys were both playing AAA hockey before you transferred over and started playing at Hartland. What went into that decision? Why leave the AAA game and go to Hartland to play high school? I know part of it's going to be the salesman and Ricky Gadwa, but
I always thought it was the coaching. I did, but I guess not.
Seth, what was that reason that you put forth to say, hey, I'm going to go, my pathway's going through high school hockey?
For me, it was kind of a tough decision because going into during my sophomore year, I was debating it and had a recent, or you could say a current player on the Hartland hockey team come up to me in one of my classes and say, you should come play for us. And I was like, I already have a spot playing AAA, kind of was pushing it off to the side, and ended up doing the AAA thing. It didn't really gel, never had a good experience with it. And then was like, I'm going to play for Hartland. And it was a really good decision that I made, obviously helped me develop and be the player I am today.
Ryan?
Yeah, so I did the whole AAA thing, and I was at Little Caesars for a bit and ended up getting cut. So then I kind of bounced around with Honey Baked and Compure, and then skated with Hartland my freshman year while I was still at Honey Baked. And then the more and more talking to Coach Gadwa and kind of all the guys there convinced me to come in my sophomore year, which I thought it was great. Like I thought it was loyal. We're all straight shooters, so like you kind of got what you were expecting and what you were told, and then kind of just took off from there and don't regret anything about it. So
isn't that awesome? Seth, how did you end up at Elmira? Tell us, from the day that you left Hartland, tell us that path, because again, I'll keep resetting this during the show. This is a proven path. It doesn't go in any direction, but we've seen guys like yourself move on. Tell us how you eventually ended up at Elmira.
So yeah, after I graduated from Hartland, I tried to do the North American route, and for me, it just wasn't the route for me. So I ended up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, playing in the Northern Ontario League, and made just the best out of the situation that I was put in, and thrived in it, and did very well for myself, and ended up moving up to the NCDC the next year, and stuck there for 2 years. And my age out year, just decided to do the best that I could and put everything on the line to see where I can go, and ended up talking to a bunch of schools and found out that Elmira was the best fit for me, and I'm really excited about it.
Ryan, same thing for you. You walk out, you're done at Hartland. No two paths are the same. How did you end up at Dubuque?
Yeah, so kind of similar to Fergie. Played a year in the USP. Thought I really developed and like learned adversity down there. Had a lot of kids on the roster, so just trying to battle to play every day was kind of made me mature a little bit. And then ended up playing in the OJ my last 2 years, and talking to schools coming into the new year. I was trying to figure out what the best spot for me with like helping my family out, getting to school, along with trying to get the best minutes. So talking to a few schools, and then got on the phone with Dubuque at some point, and just they're building something new, kind of like with high school hockey in Michigan, trying to build it up and kind of prove like you can come here and win and you can play and be competitive. So I took it as an opportunity to try and go build something, and I wouldn't regret it. The coaching staff there is great. Heard great things about it. Heard we're building a lot of stuff. So I'm excited for it. Thought it was a great school, great choice. So yeah.
All right. Another question for both of you, starting with Ryan here. We've got a lot of seniors that are moving on to juniors. They're going to be doing the same thing you guys did, whether it's moving away, living with a billet family, training camps coming up. It's junior hockey, playing with 20-year-olds. Ryan, what's a piece of advice you could give to those seniors that are moving out this year?
I would say kind of just from a social standpoint, like treat your billet family kind of like your own family. So like for me, especially, like they like treated me how I would be at home. So I thought it made it more comfortable. So going to the rink, I kind of just felt like I'd go to the rink and then come home. So I thought it helped me have a better attitude at the rink, along with trying to develop more. And they were always very supportive and just helping me with the whole hockey thing. And then you'd come home and you kind of relax and talk to them like they're your own parents. So I think having a close relationship with your billet family really helps, especially being away from home for your first year. So I would, if any advice, I would say keep your billets close.
All right, Seth, how about you?
I would say the biggest piece of advice I would have is make the connections early. Like, get involved with the older guys. Try to build the relationships, because they're the guys that you're learning from at the end of the day. They've been through it. They're there for a reason, and they're there to lead you, and just take what they give you and run with it. Like, they have the best advice that you can get from a player standpoint. So stick with that.
Aren't these guys beauties?
Yep.
Boy,
This
Coach
is great.
Cadwell, you're sitting there with a big smile on your face for good reason. My goodness gracious, right?
They're all so grown up. I love it. Hey, and I'm joking, but I'm totally not. You know, it's really cool to see these guys and how mature they are. I mean, these two right here, these knuckleheads, they're such great kids. Men, I shouldn't say kids. I'm sorry.
Right.
No disrespect, boys. They just, but you know what? They're two of many that have like built the whole thing we have. I miss them every day, but like they were so foundational, and you can just see why. Like even the advice, like Ryan, you just give, like, I don't know, I haven't listened to all the podcasts. He's talking about his billet family and that relationship. And Seth, what you just said, I just think that stuff's great, and I'm so proud of all these guys, and it's just really cool.
Hey, continued success to both of you guys. We'll be keeping an eye on you, no doubt about that. Seth Ferguson again, Elmira College. Ryan Piros, Dubuque University. Thanks for your time. Continued success. Hopefully we see you at a game sometime soon, boys.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, great guys, no doubt about that. As we go down the list, listen, you guys both know me.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a lot. I wanted to show respect to the other guys, but our next guest, I was going to wear the hat, but I was going to wear the hat. Listen, I was going to wear the hat, but I didn't want to be disrespectful to any other guys. But
well, we could have put it on. I could have brought mine. You saw the hat at my house the other day. I could have put
Come
it
on, Sean, put the hat on.
Everybody out there knows that I walk around with a green hat with a white S on. A guy that, skates around with a green jersey with the white S, and sometimes the white jersey with the green S, is kindly joining us right now, Joey Larson. He of Michigan State University, of course, playing for Coach Nightingale. And first of all, Joey, thanks for joining us. And my jaw dropped when we were talking at 5 years, man. Wow. You've been gone for 5 years. That's insane. How's that possible? But really, thank you for joining us tonight, bud.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. And yeah, for sure, time flies by. So I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's been 5 years, but like we were talking about earlier, time flies by.
Tell us about your path. I think everybody remembers certainly an illustrious career at Hartland. I think everybody kind of knew that you were a guy that might be moving on. The big question is where and how. Tell us about your path the second that you left Michigan high school hockey.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Hartland was an awesome time, and I was fortunate enough to do really well there under the good coaching staff and players surrounding me. And yeah, I ended up, so after my senior year, I signed a tender in the BCHL with the Chilliwack Chiefs. And so yeah, that was awesome. Kind of didn't really know where I wanted to go straight out of high school, and then was getting a lot of interest from a lot of BCHL teams, and then I'm really glad that ended up working out because that was an awesome spot and had a great year there and great time. Amazing coaches there, and you get treated so well there, and it was just a great first year of junior. And then from there, I guess I went to, it was the COVID year, so I went to, or I stayed in the U.S., spent a little bit of time in the North American League and the USHL, and then my final year, I played Muskegon in the USHL, and yeah, that was great. Just playing close to home, being surrounded by so many good players, and playing in the best league in the world, honestly, for junior hockey. So that was really fun. And yeah, now I'm at Michigan State. So.
All right, let's talk about that move from Hartland to the BC. It's not down the street. We're not going 5 minutes to the rink. You're out there talking about that move and some advice that you could give to these seniors that are going to be making that move this year, not only just to faraway places, but to play junior hockey, such as yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me it was really fun. I enjoyed every second of it, and yeah, I guess the advice I would give to guys doing the same thing is just enjoy it. I mean, it only happens once in your life, so juniors is some of the most fun years of your life, and most crucial years as well as far as hockey. Like it's the best time to develop and get yourself ready for college.
I think Joey and Jed are having their own personal competition. Who can get the biggest neck? It's pretty tight right now. Rick, you're going to have to get out the tape measure. We're going to have to get the official measurement. But Ricky, for just a second, talk about this guy because I think everybody remembers the type of player that Joey was. What jumps out to you about Joey then and now?
Better person than he is a player, and he's a phenomenal player, but Joey, like, I mean, it's probably the most serious I've ever seen your face. And what I mean by that smile, like everyone says, I'm always ear to ear. He's always smiling. Joey loves hockey. He loves it, eats it, breathes it. It's part of him. And as a player, like, I mean, he was every coach's dream. He kept the room in order. He led by example on the ice. He wasn't. It wasn't about Joey, at least to the outside. It was never about Joey. It really wasn't. It was about, when he was at Hartland, it was about Hartland. And it was about winning the state championship. And it was about, the team becoming better. And at the end of the day, we know for him, it was about moving on. And he wanted to get there. But Joey's mentality and the way he attacked the game, that's the amazing part about him. I think he's just an unbelievable story. If you really peel it back and look at his story, Joey came to us sophomore year.
Yeah,
probably soaking wet, 120 pounds at that point.
Yeah, probably.
He could shoot the puck then. He can shoot it now. If you notice, the guy he never misses. Actually, I just ran into your dad at the rink, I think yesterday. One of the things he said to me was, what's the difference between this and that? He's like, the great ones don't miss the net. Well, Joey never missed the net. And I know you miss it every now and then, but it's just really, I could go on for hours about him. And I don't know if I know I have, but I'll do it in front of everyone. Thank you. And all the guys that have been on, but for what, they've done for our program. But guys like you, Joey, like you're showing people, it's a little bit of a different path. And you had to develop mentally, physically, and you did. And you're continuing to do that. And he just got home from Anaheim's camp, and their dev camp, and he's going to sign an NHL deal. Like the guy's going to play in the NHL, in my opinion. So it's unbelievable. And thank you, man.
Yeah, no, thank you a lot for the kind words, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me as well. Through my high school years and even now, he's a great guy and great coach as well. So thank you for that.
Tell you what, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. And we know his dad as well. You want to talk about a quality human being? There's one, and the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, Mike.
Yeah. Now, Joe, you talked about your time in Muskegon, and you kind of lit up when you did it, but you also kind of lit it up when you got to Muskegon. Like it was kind of developing. You could see it the year before, but you hit Muskegon and you really had a big year. What are a couple things you can attribute to that?
Yeah, no, I think that year I just went into the year with a lot of confidence. We had a really good team that year as well. Was surrounded by great players, guys who could feed me the puck and guys who could finish on my plays. And yeah, like I said, like great players, great coach there, Mike Hamilton and all the other guys there. They did a great job. It was really pro style of hockey, and yeah, I'm just super grateful that I ended up there. Had a great time there, and obviously had a fun year. So,
Joey, talk about the rebirth up in East Lansing. When I was younger, you couldn't get tickets to MUN. You really couldn't. You had to know somebody to be able to get into MUN. And true story, I did some television games a few years ago for Michigan State, and Michigan State played Wisconsin on a Friday night. And here you have Michigan State and Wisconsin on a Friday night in MUN, and next to nobody was in the building. And it broke my heart to see what you guys have done this year, what Coach Nightingale has done to bring that excitement back to such a rich hockey history. You've had a front row seat for it. How cool was that experience last year?
Yeah, no, that was great. Obviously, Coach Nightingale and the staff have done a great job. I mean, everything here is so pro, like the way they do things. It's all about doing it the right way, and Coach Nightingale is a super humble guy. Just lives the right way, does the right things, and it just kind of bleeds into all of us. You know, like I think he sets a good mindset for all of us, and I think that was really cool last year. Like obviously winning the Big Ten championship and then the tournament, Big Ten tournament as well. But yeah, I guess it's just the way we do things around here. And the job they've done. Like the practices are unbelievable. Like if you watch the practice, you'd be in shock. I mean, it's just like we work so hard in the weight room, on the ice. It's just a really good culture here, just super competitive. And yeah, I guess it's taking care of itself with the 2 championships. So hopefully next year we do the same.
You know, sticking with Michigan State, and we talk about it all the time, that the change that's happened there and the atmosphere that is there. I happened to be at that Big Ten championship game that you got when you guys won it against Michigan. Talk about playing in that atmosphere. What was that like?
Yeah, no, it was crazy. Yeah, I've been very fortunate to be able to play in a lot of big games, but that was definitely the biggest game I've ever played in, and yeah, that was unbelievable. Like packed crowd, Michigan State, such a huge rivalry with so much history. So to be able to play in that game and then win it in overtime like that was just unbelievable.
This is what we're doing, and we're calling it the proven path. And Joey Larson is a perfect example. And as Coach Gadwa said, there's no 2 ways, there's no easy ways. But Joey, before we let you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your experience going to camp. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think last year you went to Nashville. This year you went to Anaheim. What was that experience like? You know, here's a kid not that long ago. You're playing high school hockey. I mean, for venerable Hartland, make no mistake about that. And you know, to find yourself in an NHL camp a couple of years in a row, what was that experience like?
Yeah, no, that was great. Obviously, when you're at those camps, it's really fun to be there, see what that's all about, and just kind of be surrounded by such good players and coaching staffs like that, and organizations, such historic organizations, and obviously, yeah, that's the goal at the end of the day. So just gotta continue to keep putting in the work, and hopefully it all takes care of itself.
Anything else for Joey?
Well, I was going to say, for all those kids out there that are playing AAA hockey, AA hockey out there at Kensington Ice House, what is something you'd like to say to them about why they should be playing high school hockey next year and the next couple of years, especially at Hartland High School?
Yeah, no, I'd say it's high school hockey is like mini college hockey, it's like it's the same type of atmosphere. You get to go to the games, sold out crowds, big rivalry games, playing for your school. So yeah, like when I was playing AAA, I obviously had a great time as well. But once I moved to high school, just playing in front of friends and family and for the community is something different about it. And then yeah, like I said, it's like a mini college hockey there, and I always wanted to play college hockey growing up, and obviously play in the NHL one day. But yeah, I guess like for me too, just or for some advice, I would say is if you're good, they'll find you. So it doesn't matter where you're playing, and obviously high school hockey's gotten to the point where it's really good hockey now. But yeah, like I think at the end of the day, if you're good enough, they'll find you. So.
This was awesome. Seriously, Joey, and to everybody else out there, this was awesome to hear all the different paths and to watch all you guys get to where you are eventually now. And you're not done yet either. We really appreciate it. Joey, continued success. I'm sure I'll see you up East Lansing. And Mike, I can do this. I can drop a go green on him, right? Nobody's going to go green, Joey.
Go white.
All right. Hey, Rick, you know what? Earlier I brought up a bad experience for you, but Joey just brought up something. Another really good experience and really hammers home what Joey was just talking about. And when you talk about atmospheres, was when you guys knocked off Marquette in overtime. And there have been so many great moments. And I say this to everybody. I don't think people understand like how big that moment is and how many people are making noise and how loud it gets at USA Hockey Arena. For example, when Ian scored that goal, I mean, the eruption that happened in that moment, boy, you're not getting that in other places. You simply aren't. That is not an opinion. It is a fact.
It's a fact. You don't, I mean, I know the big debate, we're not talking tier 2 over high school. It's really AAA in high school. I'll say this, and a lot of people say it now. There is no one, maybe it's the wrong thing. There's no one proven path because we see multiple paths work. But I mean, this is one public school right here, and look at all these guys that are on right now. That's not all of them. Just from one place. And I know I'm not even answering your question, but it's unbelievable to me, and I don't know if we all pay attention enough. Long story short, I work, in a field where I work with a lot of AAA hockey players as well, and a lot of them all say, they wish they could play. Some kids maybe go to a school that, maybe high school hockey's not as big for them yet, and all that. And I always tell them, well, maybe they're the next. That you could start to build something like you have at CC or Stevenson or Brighton or Hartland, and I could go down the list. But atmosphere wise, no. Look at the media now. No, like they don't have. High school hockey has the coverage. I mean, our kids in Livingston County here, if you play for Howell, Brighton, Hartland, like you're on the front page of the newspaper. You're on social media, like it's packed with media. And then you go to these games and like you heard multiple guys mention, just go to a game and you see it. And those experiences are part of the developmental process as well. That's what I don't think a lot of people realize. There's great players that maybe play in front of 20 people. And when they get to the next level, sometimes it's those big crowds that might hurt them even. They don't have the experience in it, and some can't get through it, and they have to stop playing. So high school hockey, Joey just said it, mini college. I'm going to start using that. And he's right. We wear the wings on our helmet, but it's true. They're at school together. They experience that atmosphere is great. And you learn how to, play for your school and play for a community, and that stuff's pretty special. So really cool stuff.
We got one more. He just checked in, and I'm glad that we went over. And because we certainly don't want to forget this guy. Another guy, if you follow this game at all, the name will sound familiar. You'll remember his game. So happy that he has been able to continue his career in the NA. Let's bring him on. Jack L'Esperance kindly joining us. Jack, really appreciate you taking the time. You're going to have the final word here, man. So no pressure at all representing Hartland. Thanks for joining us. First of all, talk about your time. I'm asking every guy this question just to get her going. Talk about your time at Hartland and playing for such a special community.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. But yeah, Hartland is just an unbelievable place to play. We got Coach Rick is one of the greatest coaches I've ever played for, and just playing in front of the whole community every night, weeknight, weekend, no matter what, they're always coming out and they're always supporting. So that's always unbelievable. Then you get to go to school with them, so then you just see them around pretty much every day. So that's pretty cool to play in front of them.
So you're playing youth hockey, you're growing up, you're going on your path to playing. Why did you choose to take that path to high school hockey and at Hartland specifically?
My older brother played there and he loved it. I mean, he never ended up playing after high school, but he loved playing for Hartland and Coach Rick. And so then I decided it's a great place to play. A lot of people have moved on from Hartland, so might as well give it a shot. And I loved it. I'm glad I did. Never had any regrets. One
of the things I've always respected about Coach Gadwin in Hartland is year in, year out, you guys have a buzzsaw. And I'm sure you might not like it during the course of the season, but you get it by the end of the season. Can you talk about that buzzsaw? Because honestly, it's, and I've told you this, Ricky, it's like you guys never take a night off. You know, you're always playing somebody in the KLA. And if you're not playing somebody in the KLA, you're playing one of the big boys around the state. Doesn't matter where. Can you talk about how that experience helped you?
Yeah, I mean, every night no matter who we're playing, we're getting their best game. So we have to be on the top of our game no matter what. So that helps a lot. Is nobody's going to just roll over for us. So we always had to be on the top of our game, which everybody knew that. Obviously, some nights were better than others and worse than the night before. But you just got to you can't take any nights off. Otherwise, you're gonna not have the outcome you want.
Now, you've taken this proven pathway, that this is what the show is about, the proven pathway through high school hockey to junior hockey. Yours wasn't as smooth and as seamless as maybe all of them were, but what is some advice that you would have for those kids that do at some point want to move on to junior hockey?
I would say just go out there and have fun. Like it's nothing, obviously it's a job pretty much, like you're doing it every day. But just go out there and live. Like you don't have to only be at the rink 24/7. Go have a little life after and just go, but work on hockey when hockey comes.
What a great answer.
That is great.
Rick,
that's Jack L'Esperance.
Yeah. Come on.
Cool, calm, collected. If you know his dad, you'll see where he gets it from. They're just, and it's a great mentality to have. It's helped him actually in his development, honestly, being able to just shake things. Because when my foot's going through tables, he wasn't too happy about it. But let's bother this guy so much. But we all help each other.
Yeah. Jack, what's a great memory for you at Hartland? I'm sure there are many. Is there something that sticks out to you more than anything else?
Probably going into overtime them last two games my junior year. That was pretty unbelievable. That was pretty cool to win the state championship. That was pretty sweet. That's probably my favorite memory.
All right. Jack, thank you for joining us tonight here. I've got nothing more for him, Sean. I think
continued success. I love watching you guys continue to grow as players, and you guys are blowing my mind. I hope I get to the level of maturity you've all shown here tonight. I'm not sure I ever will. But Jack, really appreciate it. Always a pleasure watching you, and certainly wish you nothing but the best moving forward.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Kindly joining us. Ricky, some final thoughts from you. I mean, we could sit here for the next hour, and you know us. We can't wait for the season to start. It's one of two things. Wait for you to come over for a barbecue or wait for the high school hockey season to start. But no, all jokes aside, Rick, it really is a special place in Hartland, and Michigan high school hockey is a special place.
around the whole state is special. There's kids that, like at Hartland, you've seen a lot of them tonight. Like we have a lot that have moved on. Some other places, they have that too. Maybe not at the volume, but I guess my biggest, the thing I would say is, like I was alluding to earlier, and there's kids that don't play because maybe my program's not here. Well, they could be the start to that. And guys like, you just saw some of them that were way back, like the Jed Pietolas that ended up coming out and, you know, and the Joey Larsons and all them. Like they were, and there's a lot of other names that I'm not mentioning. They started it. Hartland wasn't always what it was. So the biggest thing is the high school hockey community, the coaches especially, believe me, we have heated rivalries. Talk about a rivalry with Stevenson and a good friend of yours and Dave Mitchell. People think it's hatred. No, it's competitive, and that's important, and you need that. But no matter what school you're at, like you could be a part of building what CC's done, like some of these other programs have done, and you could be the one that builds it. Like Ryan Piros is going to Dubuque. He's a builder. He wants to build something. He wants to be a part of something special. So they could do that. And again, like you just heard multiple kids say it, you hear the highest end coaches, scouts say it, they'll find you. So you can go play high school hockey and you can move on. And the proven path, it's there. It's proven. I mean, I'm sure we just made a graphic actually with, Michigan high school hockey, and Coach Osemacher did a ton of great work on that. Go look at the graphic. Like Joey's on there. Like read what some of these kids have to say. Listen to stuff like this. You can do it, man. You don't have to play AAA. You can stay home. You can play for your community. You can play for your school, and then you can still play pro hockey. I'm not just talking college hockey, junior hockey. I mean, Jed's playing pro. Joey's going to play pro. There's other ones on here that I think will play pro right out of high school hockey. So no better place.
Rick, I say at every show, my boss with the Plymouth Whalers, Mike Vellucci, who's now with the Pittsburgh Penguins, said it all the time. If you can play, we'll find you. And that goes for whether it be the NAL, whether it be OJ, whether it be Division III, Division I, doesn't matter. You can play, we'll find you. And certainly one of the most fun things I do, I mean this in all sincerity, is for the past, I don't even know now, 12 years, having the opportunity to get to know guys like you and watch a lot of the players like the young men that we had on the show tonight. Hey, man, appreciate you as always. You know that. Continued success to you, and it was a pleasure to catch up with so many of your former players. You did a heck of a job as a coach, but I'll tell you what, those kids have become very respectable men, and that's a tribute to their parents and maybe a little bit of the coaching as well, Ricky.
We'll give it to the parents. They spent a lot more time with them.
Hey, man,
great kids, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Always a pleasure, Ricky. Thanks for your time.
Thank you guys so much for having me, and all the rest of the guys. So continued success to you.
Thanks, man. It's going to do it for Mike Iveson. I'm Sean Belegian saying until next week, see you.
What the Puck, featuring Sean Belegian. Produced by Todd Losey and Blake Matrazek. Executive produced by Sean Belegian and Todd Losey. Theme song and incidental music by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe to What the Puck on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.